Before we get started, I have a quick favor. I've been self-funding the Finding Genius podcast for 5 years now. I've done over 3,000 episodes. And as you can see on YouTube, we're up over 1 million views on the channel, which is fantastic. The next thing I really want to push on is to get up to 10,000 subscribers. Because once we do, we'll be able to put a donate button and we'll be able to solicit donations to help keep the podcast running and to also get the Finding Genius Foundation moving along. We have a big project studying anxiety, depression, and PTSD and working on a product to help people overcome these problems because I've seen them explode recently after the last 2 years of the whole virus situation. So if you would, please subscribe to the podcast. That would help us tremendously. Give us a thumbs up and check in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It's about $5. If you could buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it. It would help keep the channel going, and I love coffee. Thank you.
Forget frequently asked questions.
Common sense, common knowledge, or Google.
How about advice from a real genius? 95% of people in any profession are good enough to be qualified and licensed. 5%
go above and beyond.
They become very good at what they do, but only
0.1%
are real geniuses. Richard Jacobs has made it his life's mission to find them for you. He hunts down and interviews geniuses in every field: sleep science, cancer, stem cells, ketogenic diets, and more. Here come the geniuses. This is the Finding Genius Podcast
with Richard Jacobs.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Finding Genius Podcast. Today, my guest is Inesa Ponomariovaite. We're going to talk about our company called NSA Hemp Oil. Nesa. The website is NESAHEMP.com. Actually, with an extra S. NESASHEMP.com. So we're going to talk about hemp oil, what it is, and Inesa's journey. So welcome, Inesa. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah, tell me a bit about your background and how did you come to start this company?
That's a good question. It's never easy to answer this question without giving a background, actually. So the way I started Nesa's Hemp, it wasn't definitely by choice. It was something that I was in a need. The world was in a need, I would say. And the background starts from actually very miserable myself health-wise, and I've been very sick my entire life. And when I came to United States, I was age 21. And what happened to me, I just simply, so many people took advantage of me. And not because, something was wrong. It's just a regular world. And I was super naive and just too big of open heart. And because of that, I went through a lot of stress, of course, because I was always hurt. And of course, never allowed myself to become a victim of these situations. I empowered myself. But at the end of the day, internally, you go through stress. So my health was going down big time. So by age 25, I feel like I went through a lot, but my health wasn't doing good. And I was like walking halfway dead, 25-year-old, because I would be going to the emergency room every 2 weeks. Antibiotics, steroids, you name it. And what really got my attention on my own life that I said, what did they change? Because I came from Lithuania and I came in the best country in the world with the best medical care, with the best doctors, with the best of the best. Instead getting better, in fact, I'm getting worse, but now I'm using the best medical system. So that got my attention and I was thinking what I'm doing wrong. And I just realized I never changed anything since I was a kid. My mom took me to the doctors and she pumped me the pills because the doctors told her to put me on the pills. And what happened, America did the same thing. And I realized this is a global issue and I'm not leaving the vicious cycle and I need to do something because I have only two options, die or die. If I choose not to die, then I better get out. And if I'm going to get out, I have to have a different way because this way was no longer serving me.
Quick question here. In my late 40s, older people, I don't even, I'm older, middle-aged. I would think someone 25, they should be in great health. How many people do you think that are very young, 20, 22, 25, are having so many problems as you did? You think it's widespread or was it you were just, maybe you had, worse luck than others?
I personally, I know it's going to sound very crazy and I do work with athletes. I work with UFC. I work with young athletes, professional athletes, basketball, volleyball, whatever you name it. You would be surprised they're all pretty miserable. And I mean it. Like if they're not miserable officially on a piece of paper yet, which is diagnosis, I can tell you this, that where it really starts when they have a symptom and they ignore it. let's say if you have a ticking in the body, or you have a ear ringing, or if you have a sinuses, or if you have a gut issues, and if you ignore it for a certain period of time, 5 to 10 years, you are becoming a ticking bomb. And when you're exposed to the stress or toxins or anything like that in your life, that ticking bomb is on. And when the ticking bomb is on, then you just explode, and doctor sees you as you becoming full of disease, whatever disease is. So I don't know anyone as of today who does not have a symptom of any of the things that normally people have. So everybody is about to become a ticking bomb, or they already are a bomb. So sadly, but that's the reality, and that's what I work in Regenesis 369. Regenesis 369, where we help people with a 100% conversion rate to improve their health. I just tell people all the time, bring me something challenging, bring me something where nobody was able to help you, because, those easy symptoms are so easy to overcome. So I'm always looking for something more challenging right now in these days.
Please keep going. Tell me about your journey. So you were feeling terrible. Then what happened to you? How did you come out of it?
Yeah, I felt absolutely bad. And what happened, I just decided to take a look and see what I'm doing wrong. And I realized I'm just doing the same thing, and same doctor, same pill, different hospitals, still same pill. And I just decided to think outside the box and be open-minded and to see if there's anything else for me in this world. And I just started talking to people, changed my diet. Of course, my alcohol intake, I stopped alcohol completely in my life. And not that I was alcoholic, but still a social drinker. Changing my lifestyle and doing a lot of actual juicing. And that led me to improvement. And when you're so miserable, a little tiny improvement becomes like a big thing. It's a big win. I just decided to stick what helped me to improve. And within 1 year, I was able to completely become healthy and transform my health. And I never been sick again since then. But that wasn't enough for me to say, I'm going to go change the world. I'm going to make the difference. I'm going to create a path. But that was kind of good enough for me to start my life, to be happy again, but it wasn't enough to change the world. So when I really got my life together, after I got better, I just simply was asking God what's my purpose in life, because I had a really great job on a piece of paper. I had a nice apartment, nice car. I mean, things were like finally good for me. And I said, is this American dream? I said, that's all what it is. You just make a good money and you have a comfortable life. And I said, that's not going to serve me. I am not fulfilling something what's inside of me. It's like this little girl inside in my heart and my soul screaming for something bigger. And I don't know what the bigger is. So decided to pray. And after 1 year praying, I actually received a phone call from my mom. And she said that she is having 6 months left to live and she's going to die.
Oh, no.
And exactly, that's your reaction. But my reaction was, oh, yes. And she thought something isn't right with me, because as she was telling me with tears of sadness how sad she is, I was literally having tears of joy, because I was simply visualizing the mission and vision. And I had this major download where I am changing the world and to be in a better place. And everything what I'm doing today, now it's been years later, I actually saw in that vision years ago. And with that being said, I knew that I'm going to be able to help my mom. I didn't know how. I did not know the details. And I knew somehow I'm going to be able to help the world. And I saw thousands of millions of people being happy, smiling, joyful. And that was the moment she said, are you okay? I said, of course I am okay. So she's like, how you can be happy on such sad news? I said, Mom, you don't understand. I said, your cancer is literally saving the world today and you're going to be cancer free. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, you will see yourself. So she FaceTimed me because she thought I'm like sleeping, talking, walking, whatever. So because I used to do that when I was a kid, I used to talk when I sleep. So she thought that's what I'm doing because it was early morning in the United States. So she FaceTimed me and she's like, oh my gosh, you're not sleeping. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm truly understanding what's going on. And I said, your life is going to be changing the world. And that's exactly what happened. I left the country the same day. I left back to Lithuania. I got one-way ticket. I didn't know when I'm going to come back. And I just knew one thing, that I'm not going to take any pharmaceutical route. I'm not going to take any chemo. I'm not going to do any radiation on my mother. And I just knew that I'm going to exhaust every single option from the natural route, natural holistic medicine, and I will do whatever it takes. And I will take this approach first. And if I need to do the second approach as plan B, I'll take the pharmaceuticals.
How did you know that your mom would listen to you? Because a lot of people who are ill, I've heard them directly. They won't listen to their kids or other family members to help them.
Maybe because I've always been a leader in the family. Even I've been the one who kind of got everyone's life together. I've been the one who helped everybody to get their lives together. So, and since it's always been successful, leading path, based on facts, evidence, and data, I think that's why she trusted me, but also she knew that I wish her the best. And I think the positivity was coming out of me and how happy and I felt and joyful. I was sending her that vibration of whatever was happening with me, because it was a little shocking for me too. I can't even believe I said these words to my mom, but end of the day, that's what I said. And today we laugh. I said, do you remember when I told you this and you told me that? I was like, yeah, I do. Like right now we laugh, but that time it was pretty shocking for both of us. But I think she just trusted me because she knows who I am.
Before we continue, I've been personally funding the Finding Genius podcast for 4.5 years now, which has led to 2,700 plus interviews of clinicians, researchers, scientists, CEOs, and other amazing people who are working to advance science and improve our lives and our world. Even though this podcast gets 100,000 plus downloads a month, we need your help to reach hundreds of thousands more worldwide. Please visit findinggeniuspodcast.com and click on Support Us. We have 3 levels of membership from $10 to $49 a month, including perks such as the ability to see ahead in our interview calendar and ask questions of upcoming guests, transcripts of podcasts you're interested in, the ability to request specific topics or guests, and more. Visit findinggeniuspodcast.com and click Support Us today. Now back to the show.
Well, that's excellent. Okay. Well, how did this lead to the creation of NSA Hemp Oil?
So yeah, since my mom got better, it took us 4 months and she was diagnosed officially cancer-free. Thank goodness, no chemo, no radiation. I got super excited. I spent 27,000 hours on worldwide global research and I traveled the world for information. I till today worked with the best Nobel Prize winning doctors. And what happened, I was able to help my mom, and since she got better, I got so excited. And I said, we gotta share this with the world. And I became this, you call wellness coach, holistic coach. And since all my people got better too, all the people I was trying to help on cancer, I just became this person that everybody called me if they had cancer. And eventually I opened the company, but in the beginning I was just helping people for free, and I was just helping volunteering in their homes and whatever we had to do, going to do the blood work with them. And with that being said, when you are that person, when people trust you 100%, you kind of have a responsibility to know what you're doing, because this people's lives in your hands. And I knew if I'm promoting any CBD product, any hemp product, I had to make sure these products are safe. And that's where Nesa's journey started, actually. I understood the difference and understood how essential it is for us humans consume hemp. It's almost essential as air, water, and food. It is the same essential. We can't live without this plant. Our bodies cannot function without this plant. And I'll be happy to explain how and why.
A lot of people do have different hemp products, but, a vast majority of people in the world don't. How do they function without it?
Exactly. So when I understood the difference and essentials, I said, I must find the best hemp quality product in the market so I can actually promote it and sell it to people so they can purchase and I can be part of the company as a salesperson or affiliate or whatever. So any possible form. At this point, I just scared to find a company. And since I started investigating all these companies, I learned there was 0 regulations. Still, there's no regulations up to today. And there's no regulations. So whatever you put in these bottles is really up to your own business. Nobody's going to keep you accountable for that. There is 0 regulations for that. And I got really upset. I said, then I really need to know what's in these bottles. So I decided to spend my own money and testing products on the market. And when I start finding out a lot of dangerous things, what's in these products, I says, this can be true. I really need to understand what's going on. So I decided to visit all these companies, major marketed companies that actually own largest market share in the country. And it was 17 companies I had on the list. Farmers, production studios, like all these production guys, everybody possibly name it. And I went one by one. I knocked the door. And I said, my name is Inesa. I do want to know about your products. I do work as a health coach. I said, I would like to actually promote your products if your products meets my standards, but I need to know these things for myself. That's where I discovered a lot of dirty, dark truth behind the industry, and it was really sad. But after 2 weeks traveling the country and going state by state, I had to come back home.
It's an example or two of what you discovered that was disturbing, without naming names. But what did you see?
I saw beyond dangerous levels of mold and actually metals, that if you take these products, if that kind of level, you might cause a heart attack, brain injuries, cancer guaranteed. I mean, bowel issues, those are like literally causing disease products, on the market. And you see where the problem is, hemp is such a beautiful plant. If you want to grow hemp for medicinal purposes, you have to be extra careful because by nature, hemp is also a soil cleaner. If you want to clean your soil, all what you need to do, plant your hemp.
But you mean it absorbs a lot of stuff from the soil?
Everything in very extensive level. That means if you want to grow it for medicinal purposes, you have the soil itself needs to be very clean. You can't just go and plant the hemp. So that's where the challenge is in the hemp industry. But again, nobody wants to clean the soil because it takes a lot of years and time and money, and they just want to make a quick buck, and that's how it is. So I saw the industry, what they're doing with the metals and putting additives for people to be addicted to the products, lying to me, saying this is still organic certified. I said, I don't care about organic. If that's the load of metals that you have in your products, or in Colorado, we can't escape the metals. The whole land is loaded with metals. I said, I don't care if the land is loaded with metals, that you need to find your way to grow these plants without the metals. So as I said, I had arguments after arguments, and I said, I'm not going to change these people. I need to figure out what I'm going to do next. So I came back home. I went in tears, and I said, can be true, but it is the reality. But I said, maybe I'm going crazy because I truly went to visit 17 different #1 rated companies in America. And I said, maybe it's a problem with me. It's not a problem with them, because how is this can be all them? So I decided to contact actually #1 experts in the world on this topic, like scientists. One of them was actually Raphael from Israel. And I was asking him, I said, it took me 3 months to get him on the call. Of course, it was very consistent, persistent process. Otherwise, you're not going to get things done with powerful people. And what happened, I asked him, I said, Dr. Mashulm, I said, are you aware what the issue is in the industry? Everybody sells this drug. It's called CBD. It's not even part of the nature. And that drug is loaded with toxin. I said, this is negative too. This is not even, any pluses here. And he said, really admire, what you've done, but I fully aware of what you're saying, but there's not much you can do to change it. It's the whole industry like this, because CBD is a drug. And if you know, nature cannot be patented. And I said, so what are you trying to tell me? So long story short is, we wrapped the conversation to that point where he said, I wish you best of luck. I know where the actually industry is. Very sad. I wish I can change something, but there's too much money involved and there's not much I can do. I said, oh.
How did you come to make your own product then?
So then I talked to another expert from Harvard, and he told me the same thing, because again, I wanted to make sure I'm not going crazy. He told me the same thing, that he's devastated with the industry. That's the moment where I said, I gotta come up with something that I can trust and I can put my name behind, if it's someone else's brand or if it's my brand. So since nobody else was doing it, I had to come up with my own. And that's how I started developing Nesa's Hemp and looking in history behind.
Okay, so how did you source materials? Without giving away proprietary stuff, how did you get materials that were superior to the other ones? Did you, your suppliers, do you test everything they give you, or how did you go about it?
I control all the processes from the seed to the finished bottle. We have our own manufacturer. We have our own extraction processes that keeps every single particle and chemistry to the finished bottle. My farmers are in contract with me, so I'm in a contract with my farmers. We're both in the contract. So I participate in a soil development. I participate in, there's nothing happening in the farm, outside the farm, or manufacture or bottling without me being in the process. So I'm completely in control for every single process. And yes, we developed the first biological CBD hemp product that has been certified to be the cleanest, safest product in the country by FDA registered laboratories, because they test all the CBD products on the market and they test every single product in the parts per billion from these dangerous toxins, and many toxins, not 1 or 10 or 20. I'm talking about hundreds and thousands of toxins. And since Nesa's hemp was the first one to become that clean and reach that level from all these brands, they actually gave us certification to announce, as it's called, safety seal certification. So we became the first company in the United States to receive that certification by FDA registered laboratories.
Yeah, that's great. So what are some of the characteristics of the Nesa's hemp oil? Like what is in it that won't be in, some other brands, and what is not in it that is in some other brands?
It works. Our purity and our consistent and our effectiveness, it's not something anybody can ever beat us. I mean, the product works. When people come to us and say, I tried CBD, Nesa doesn't work, or give me anxiety, or give me this, I said, please give a chance to this bottle. From the moment they do give a chance to Nesa's, they simply understand that they never tried CBD in the past until they tried Nesa's hemp.
Okay. I've seen on the shelf, full spectrum, contains terpenes, things like that. Like, what are some of the buzzwords that customers will see on the shelves that will tell them either stay away or look more closely, if they're looking at different brands and out there? Of course, it sounds like Nesa's is a very high quality, but again, in the marketplace, what should people look for? What should they avoid?
Number one and most important thing you need to look for is when they say lab tested, okay, you want to make sure your product is clean, because no matter what kind of hemp is in that product, you want to make sure it's clean. So when they say lab tested, it's almost saying, we did the lab work on your blood, or like on what? Did you test me my sugars, or did you test me from 8? So the way we're doing here, we want to make sure we test from every single possible harmful toxin, mold, metals, everything, bacteria. And you want to make sure your products have a shelf life. So what you're looking for very specific, unique, it's called batch number. And that specific batch number needs to be attached to any bottle that is sold on the market, and it's unique to that bottle. And that batch number needs somebody, if it's a CBD store owner, if it's a brand like Nesa's or anybody out there who sells you this product, they need to show you lab reports that's coming from ATS laboratories, the ones that never actually fake lab reports, like most of them do. And you want to see that product was tested not from just cannabinoids or how much of THC you have in it. You want to make sure it's tested from every possible metal, bacteria, and microtoxins. So that means you're going to have minimum 4 to 6 pages of testing done on that specific bottle. So if somebody shows you lab reports with that specific unique number that is attached to your bottle, which is you need to ask for, and you have 2 pages of testing, that itself is already a lie, because first page is going to be what the product is about, and it's going to show you is just what's the medicinal portfolio, how much CBD is in there, and the second page, best case scenario, will give you some kind of type of data on flavonoids or metals or something. You need to have pages and pages of testing on each bottle, because then you have a chance to at least have a clean product in your hands.
Right, but to see that, you'd have to, at best, I guess, go to, let's say you're buying Billy Bob's hemp oil. You'd have to, I guess, go to the website and see if they have all that stuff at best? Like, how would people even make the effort to go verify that this stuff exists for a given company?
That's what I said. I had the same issue. And even if people go look, first of all, industry is not regulated. So 90% chances you're taking something that's going to harm you. So if that's what you want and you don't want to check the website, I tell people all the time, then it's really too bad for you. If you don't want to buy from Nesa's hemp, it's totally fine. Go buy somewhere else. But if you buy from somewhere else, please request or go on their website and ask for the lab reports that shows all the full data. And if you cannot get that means, they don't want to show you, because like Nesa's hemp, we're very proud of our lab reports. You don't have to ask us. It's already in there. It's public to everybody. If you purchase our bottles, you're going to have that number. You're going to type in on our website, and that number is going to show you all the lab reports, pages of pages from everything. So you don't have to even come to me, ask me. I'm proud of it to show you that this is clean and safe for you, and it's effective. So if the company doesn't show you lab reports in the first place, that's already a red flag.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So if people go to nesashemp.com, Nesas hemp.com, is that the primary way through which you sell, or can people go to stores? Like, where can they get the product, and what kind of products do you have?
We have about 2 SKUs. We have 1,000 milligrams and we have 500 milligrams. So one is a little stronger, one is like light medium, I would say. And those 2 SKUs do everything for you. Like, there's so many health benefits. I would get exhausted of mentioning all of them. It's literally hundreds and hundreds of health benefits from one specific bottle. So you really don't need anything else when you have Nesa's Hemp. And that's the easiest way to find. We do have actual sell to the doctor offices and the private clinics, but each state, they don't have that many. Some states, they have more doctors selling the Nesa's Hemp, but some have less. So I think convenient and the best way to purchase is to go online.
Very good. What people noticed about the difference between the 500 and the 1,000? Is one a lot stronger? Is it a tincture? What's the format of it?
I had someone, I was on this podcast, actually a pretty big podcast recently, and her husband is a cannabis holder. So he's actually licensed for that, and he's been in pain, surgeries and everything. He tried CBDs, he tried high THCs, but when he took first full dropper of Nesa's Hemp, he said he never ever tried hemp products until he just tried Nesa's. So earthy taste and effectiveness is something that we're very proud of.
Okay, and then you said there's a ton of benefits. What are the top reasons why people use Nesa's Hemp Oil that customers have told you? Like, what are the top 2 or 3 benefits?
It's a hard question because each person really benefits exactly in what they need. So it can be pain, it can be sleep issues, it can be inflammation, central nervous system, it can be prostate, it can be ovaries, it can be anything. Somebody cannot get pregnant. I heard we have a lot of Nesa's Hemp babies. I mean, a lot of people are actually sending us pictures where babies are born thanks to Nesa's, and I didn't know that. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I said. And it's so unlimited, the benefits. It's the people saying my hair went back growing again. I started seeing better. My vision improved. So it's literally like unlimited health benefits. I probably would mention 1,000 if I had time.
All right. That's great. Well, Inesa, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And again, people should go to nesashemp.com. It's spelled NESASHEMP.com. But thanks for coming on the podcast, Inesa. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.